latest changes called for in the latest National Defense Authorization Act, or the NDAA, which is the major policy legislation for DOD and naturally has a big impact on the acquisition and organizational side. Now, these changes are, of course, aimed at maintaining that decisive technological edge going forward into the future. There's concern right now that there's too much attention being paid toward just fielding current capabilities and not enough towards developing future capabilities in terms of both attention and on the funding side. Consequently, the last year's NDAA, the FY17 one, split the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition Technology and Logistics position into two separate roles. The Undersecretary of Acquisition Sustainment was concerned about maintaining that current capability and will oversee DTRA and DLA. The Undersecretary of Research and Engineering is all about fielding and developing new technologies and will oversee DIUX, DARPA, and the Missile Defense Agency. Now, the big impact from this reorganization is making sure that the Missile Defense Agency is realigned to focus on developing new missile defense systems rather than just fielding existing ones. And this change will take place this February. Now, in a similar vein, the FY18 NDA proposes a split of the role of the DOD CIO role into two separate positions. The Chief Information Warfare Officer position will be dedicated to cyber defensive and offensive operations and capabilities. And the Chief Information Warfare Officer will have a significant role in directing cybersecurity policy and posture all across the department, particularly at NSA and Cybercom. Now, any cybersecurity vendors here, including anyone with any offensive tools, will pay close attention to the development of this position this year. The Chief Management Officer, in contrast, is focused on business systems and non-cyber IT, except in the case of nuclear, space, or C2 systems. The Chief Management Officer will have the authority to direct the service branches as well as the various DOD agencies in regards to their business systems as well as their headquarters IT. Now, the House's version of the NDA originally featured the creation of the Space Corps because they felt that the Air Force wasn't as focused as they should be on the space domain. Now, this has been eliminated in the latest version of the NDA, but there should still nonetheless be a lot more resources dedicated towards space going forward. And these are going to see a lot of the same needs as traditional weapon systems programs. We're talking about infrastructure configuration, better information sharing, increased cyber protection resiliency, as well as figuring out how autonomy can help make these systems more efficient. Now, speaking of cyber protection, the NDA for this year will focus on making the DoD CIO role also responsible for ensuring a secure supply chain, particularly for IT. Now, department-wide, and particularly at DLA, there is a lot of focus on a secure supply chain. So we expect this to be a key differentiator for IT hardware and software going forward into this fiscal year. Now, the final item I'll call out here is Section 801 of the House-passed version of the NDA. Includes a provision to require the GSA to administer and DoD to implement online marketplace for the commercial off-the-shelf technology or off-the-shelf products, but they just recently eliminated IT as part of their initial deployment for that. So going forward into this year, we're not necessarily going to see IT as part of that Amazon marketplace, but you want to pay close attention to it going forward as it may be slipped into a pilot deployment for this year or next.